Well, Joe, we've created this location so that you can teach members how to join plastic pipe and copper pipe without having any leaks. The scenario is the installation of a laundry tub. It's really not to teach members how to install a laundry tub, but we're using it just as an example. It's the same techniques you'd use anywhere, doing rough ends for supply lines and waste lines. I know yesterday you worked on this plan, and it seems to have everything in it. You've got all your supply lines drawn, all your waste lines and vent lines. Where did you begin?
Well, the main thing I drew up this diagram for was to come up with a material list. The diagram isn't necessarily to dimension. It got me to where I know where I'm running my pipes, so I know what fittings and material to get.
And it seems you do have some pipes that are crossing over, so you had to plan ahead to make sure that one pipe didn't bump into another?
Right, because I also can see that. I can see where I'm going to actually be crossing pipes and how that's going to concern me on this wall.
Mm-hmm. So where did you begin with drawing up this plan?
Well, the first thing I started was the waste line, and probably the best way to show you is go right to the laundry tub here.
Okay.
I've got a trap set up here.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I just want to come down here, and I just want to iron my trap just to see where it's going to be roughly. And I don't want my trap too low, so I have to look at it from the front, and I don't want it up too high so it's hard to work. So just looking at this, it looks like 16 1/4 probably a real good number to work with.
So is that 16 1/4 to the bottom or to the top?
It's to the center of the pipe. Normally when you're measuring your pipes and drilling your holes, you're working from the center of the pipe, so that works best.
Great. Well, according to our plan, this laundry tub gets installed right in the center of this stud bay. We're giving you plenty of room to work over here. It's a 2x6 wall. It's 24 on center, so there's plenty of room for all of your supply lines and things here.
Right, and that's a big consideration because we've got lots of room here, so we might have to take advantage of it. I'm just going to run my waters in this space. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have some blocking probably down there to anchor my water pipes. So okay. This space over here, I'm going to run my vent line, and the vent line is going to go through here and go up and connect up to this space. Okay. The important part here, though, that I have to consider is that I have to be 6 inches above the spill rim of this sink, and that's where my vent line is going to start. And then down here, where the waste line is actually running, that'll be running at 1/4 inch per foot.
Sounds good. Well, I see, Joe, that you've already marked the center line of your trap over here.
That's right. Yeah, that's where we're going to center the sink. That's roughly 12 inches over to this point. And we started out at 16 1/4. So we know our starting point over here would be 16 inches. So
mark that.
I'm just going to set that up.
Joe, what happens if you're putting in a tile floor, you're going to raise the whole floor 1/2 inch?
Well, if we did that, we'd have to adjust it right here at this point. So I believe we're going to go with linoleum floor, so we're okay at this point. So
okay.
I'll just transfer these marks across. There we go.
Good. So now we've got our 16 over here. We need to drop it down 1/4 inch per foot going over to the stack. How are we going to do that?
Okay, well, assuming that our floor is level.
Well, let's check it, make sure it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right on.
Yep, looks real good. That'd make our job real simple because we know our studs are 2 foot on center here. I'll just check it, yep, there. So at that point, we could just do the math, and we're losing 1/4 inch per foot. So I'd just go over here and I'd mark this. 15 1/2 inches it'd be.
Okay.
There we go.
So what if you had a long run, Joe? Say it was 8 feet long that you had to cover, not just to 2 studs.
Well, if we had a long run like that, we'd still start at our 16 inch mark here.
Okay.
And at that point, we would do the math, figure out where we're going to end up at the 8 foot, and then we could use a chalk line, and we could just snap a line and
great
work off of that.
So what do you do if the floor is not level?
Well, if we had an on-level floor, then we'd probably still start at our 16 inch mark here, but at this point we'd have to find a level line and work off of that. So why don't we do that?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm on the 16 there. And at that point we're level there?
Yep, that's level.
Okay, so you could just mark that there.
Okay.
Okay, so when we do the math, we're 4 feet away, so we know we'd be an inch lower than that. So we could just mark that down
mark
an inch
down
lower.
an inch and reposition the level.
And at that point,
that would be our mark.
Right, we could just grab our marks.
Okay. You know, I hear plumbers sometimes refer to quarter bubble. What's that about?
Well, what a plumber can do is, this is a real quick method and it's easy to do. I can just start out with this level right here, and I'm going to start at my 16-inch mark again.
Okay.
And at this point, we're going to just level it.
Okay, that's level.
Okay, and then at that point, I just want you to eye it up so you can see it best there too, where you got
Sure.
a quarter bubble on it. And right there, we're at the same point.
Sounds good. Listen,
So,
I'm just going to mark it. This is quick.
okay. Yeah, it's real quick on a short run like this, and it's accurate. So
Where do we go from here?
well, we're not quite done yet. We still got to do our vent lines.
You know, you said that the vent line had to come across 6 inches above the spill rim of the laundry tub.
Right.
Let me just temporarily put this over here for reference.
This is the spill rim of the sink, the highest part of the sink here. So off of that, we're just going to gauge off of that. And the minimum that we got to go is 6 inches. So I'm just going to scribe that over here. I got that.
Okay.
Now I'm just going to check that to see where we're at. And I see that I'm 39 3/4, which is okay. That's a good height for it. But I use a standard height of 42 because that works for all fixtures pretty much. So I'm just going to opt to use that one. So I'm going to just transcribe that on there. And I'm going to transfer my lines on there. Got that one there. I'll finish this one. There we go. Got that part.
Okay. Now you have to make sure that they come through in line with the stack as well.
Right, because that's the next thing. I want to have the hole that I'm going to drill here to work for me, so I'm going to locate my stack, and I know that's in the center of the stud space. So at this point, I'm just going to measure across, and I'm just literally going to mark my center of my stud there. So that's
where you're going to drill.
correct.
You do that, and I'll get the drill.
Okay, I'll finish laying out this last one.
Okay, Joe, we're going to be running 1.5" PVC pipe, both for the waistline and for the vent line. What size bit are you going to use for this?
Well, my choice was a 2 9/16 chipper bit. This one's large enough to give me clearance around the pipe, and it's going to make the hole very quickly for me.
You know, I'd more likely use one of these hole saw bits.
Well, that's probably the most common bit. Most people would probably have that bit. It's just a little slower, and you have to deal with the plug inside when you're done with it.
Sure. Well, time to drill some holes, I guess.
Okay.
Well, that really is an aggressive bit.
Yeah, it makes a quick job.
So you get the pipe, and I'll clean up the mess.
Okay.